Hello, this is Jacob Gray, and this is Deal Sourcing Segment 2, Investment Thesis. All right, what is an investment thesis? It's your educated guess at actionable investment opportunities. It's driven by your macro strategy. So a credible investment thesis should describe a concrete strategy to drive value creation, not a vaguely stated value. It's an idea about exactly where you can place your lever to make investment value happen. So just a note here that most students begin crafting an opportunity map before considering fund dynamics, and that's fine. Really, the selected size and industry, follow-on strategy, exit methods in the investment strategy should continue to be used in an iterative loop with your thesis until you come up with something. So how do you get to a thesis? This is really a classic consulting exercise, and you do it by creating an opportunity map. So first, you're going to drop in your industries and geographies that come out of your investment strategy thinking. Then you're going to define your point of view, and this really is the core of your thesis. Your thinking here is you're looking at your markets. Are there fundamental shifts in the industry that are occurring or about to occur? Take a look at the velocity. Are there economic or political changes that are going to lead to an increased or decreased growth rate in the industry? This is all forward-looking. How about technology? Are there new technological advancements occurring or around the corner that are going to cause paradigm shifts in the industry? So next, what you want to do is translate this into an investment theme. And then last, you're going to determine the categories of players. I'm sorry, not last, but next, you're going to determine the categories of players who stand to benefit from this investment theme. Continuing here, determine which activities in the value chain are going to provide better returns and more social value. Then move on, given the opportunity set that's provided from step 5, loop back to the investment strategy that you laid out. Where can your fund capacity and strengths add value? The last thing you want to do is iterate. You'll probably need to loop from steps 5 and 6 a number of times to get a thesis that you can really work with. So really that's it. This part is easy, and I suspect it will come naturally to most of you who have had some kind of consulting or banking training. But now let's take about 6 minutes for some comments from our guests. Do you think is your biggest value add the actual ticket of your investment, or what you're doing post investment? You know, your management value add, or a follow-on strategy, or your work with management teams? What's the biggest value add in your estimation?
Well, certainly we do all of the things that regular venture capitalists do in terms of helping our companies. We sit on the board, we help find talent, we help introduce to business development partners or customers, we help with strategy. You know, all of the typical things that you would associate with a venture capitalist, we do that because, you know, that's really important. But a social impact venture capitalist doesn't stop there, and so we find ourselves working with the companies on projects that help the company, but also have that dimension of social impact, and that could be we help them find a new manufacturing site, like when Tesla was looking around for the Model S plant in the early days, or a company called Ecologic. We just helped find a manufacturing site in the Central Valley of California in Manteca. A lot of young companies don't know how to do that, and they don't realize that you can get certain benefits. You can get low-interest loans sometimes, or even grants, or workforce training dollars if you go into targeted neighborhoods that are low-income and need jobs. And so that helps us fulfill a mission we have, which is to spread the entrepreneurial economy. But it also helps the company because they're chronically understaffed, and they need help with that. You know, big companies have staffs to do this, but little companies don't. And so we often get involved in those kinds of projects. We get involved on policy. You know, especially in clean tech, there's a huge amount of policy work that needs to get done, and politicians always want to hear what investors have to say and what what the impact on jobs will be of a certain policy. So we get involved in that. We get involved if there's, for example, a workforce that has a lot of non-English speaking people and the management wants to help them with English skills. We'll help them find either free or very low cost English as a second language training that perhaps they can do on site that helps the company and helps those individuals integrate into society. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on of the kinds of things that we do. And we feel that it does actually help us be better venture capitalists, because we really do get to know these companies on a much more granular level than a traditional approach where you're going to board meetings and you're dealing with only a very small subset of the team. So we think it's fun. I mean, that's one of the reasons we did this, is to kind of add that dimension to what we're doing. But we also think it's very helpful in terms of understanding where your company is in its life cycle and knowing the people and the team and the issues that are confronted.
So, so I wonder if you feel like your entrepreneurs, when you're doing that first dance and you're getting to know them before you actually make an investment, do you think that they appreciate or can sort of imagine what that help might be like? Or is that not in there? Are they not thinking about that then? They're thinking about, I got to raise this round, and who are going to be my investors, and can I get along with Nancy, and is she going to fire me? Those kind of things.
Well, in the early days, it was not explicit. We didn't have the stories to tell that we have now. So we were very proactive. We said, we are not just a plain vanilla venture firm. We want to make great returns. We want you to be successful, but we also want to help change the world for the better. And we want you to work with us on this, and we're going to kind of work on it and make it up as we go along, but we want that commitment. And so, in the early days, we were very upfront about that, because we wanted them to be excited about it. Now we really don't have to do that, because everyone knows, DBL is the firm that kind of does that kind of work, and so they just expect it of us, which is great.
You raise the bar for yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's we could have just stayed as traditional venture capitalists, but we made this choice, so we need to really honor that and work it, and we're growing it every day. I mean, there have been successes, there have been failures, but we have a body of knowledge now after 10 years of doing this of some of the tricks of the trade. So we definitely want to continue and kind of augment the tools in the toolkit as we go forward.
Yeah. Owen, I'm going to just ask you, and then we're going to close out just this one section of the interview. So when you think about your value add, where do you how do you guys think about the value add at Raw School?
Yeah, I think we have a very similar attitude that Joshua expressed earlier. That at the end of the day, in a lot of larger rounds, the money's great, and that's part of the reason we're in the discussion. But that our real value add is other areas. I think sometimes that because of that manpower, we can actually do pretty excellent due diligence, in the sense that will give the entrepreneur more ammunition or facts or information when they go out and talk, even if they're trying to strike new deals. They can say, look at all this, I've been vetted in this way, I have this estimate of my social impact, which is very valuable. And then secondly, leveraging the connections of the university. One of our portfolio companies is a near-peer mentoring for kind of first-generation college students. And then once we kind of finalized the investments, they were able to come out, visit, a world-renowned scholar on kind of college entry dynamics, and then also talk to the undergraduate admissions office, the diversity office, who focused on first-generation college students. So kind of that access and summer internships and projects like that I think are very valuable and what we can bring to the table.